It's been it was not easy, the legal packages. It's so hectic, and it's so frustrating. At some point you tell yourself that let me just let go, but at the same time, you've got that conviction inside that tells you that you need to pursue this. You still have something that you need to do for the residents of Bulawayo. You have a lot of work to do, also your commitment and your integrity as well in the city, and all the things that you had hoped for, that you needed to achieve. So it has been a lot of work, but at the same time some kind of training, because you get to learn a lot of things in the process. You get to learn some ups and downs as a leader, that at the end of the day gets to build you and make you strong, because there is a view, there is a way that you then look at things from a different perspective. Sometimes if you are always in the comfort zone, you just take things in a casual way, but after some time, when you go through certain difficulties and challenges, you then get not only to learn, but you are also trained to be a very strong and a tested leader. So for that reason, I am somehow, I could be, I'm happy. At some point I was very upset and frustrated, but I have seen this also as a training, and it's something that has molded me. Coming back right now, after the High Court judgment, I was excited, and also that drive that has always been in me to say, given an opportunity, I still need that chance to save the my ward 3, and also the people of Bulawayo, with all the expectations that I had when I was actually elected in 2018 as a candidate. So that mandate that I've always had is that conviction that has been driving me to say, let me pursue this thing up to now, to make sure that I achieve the things that I had actually promised people during my campaign.
So going forward, what's the roadmap?
Going forward, okay, thank you so much. Going forward, there are quite a number of issues right now that are going on in the city. The first one being the most important as well, the issue of water. As you all know, that there are people who have also gone for over 2 weeks without water, which is a big problem, because these things, they expose people to diseases. And not only that, we cannot live as a city in this day and age, and as a modern city, a smart city, that we actually aim and go for 2 weeks without water. This is one thing that I think as Bulawayo City Council we've always been seized with for some time, which I think by now, as leaders, we should have actually come up with solutions, and meaningful solutions, that will actually get to finish these problems once and for all, because we cannot carry on and on with the same problems, and we expect people to still trust us with these offices, because the reason why people have entrusted us with these positions is because they know, they had those expectations to say, given these people, given an opportunity, they are going to change the course of life. So if we can actually go on and actually, in fact, make this council worse than what it was before, we tend to look as the worst leaders in the history of this city. So for that reason, this is one thing that we need to make sure that the issue of water is dealt with once and for all. Second thing, the issue of parking. The issue of parking has caused a lot of problems in our city. You have people who have been running their businesses properly, and they've been making progress in this hardship. Our economy is in a bad state, but with these hardships, they've been managing and trying to break even to run their businesses. But there come this parking system, which claims to be a modern, which claims to come and modernize the city and change the course of life, but it has actually brought more problems than good. In as much as we appreciate some of the good things that comes with the parking system, I mean, of course, job creation and other things, and also the issues of security. But you see, you cannot then get to a point where you impose certain fees on people that are already struggling. These businesses are struggling. They are not really making profits. They are just breaking even. But you bring in and impose these parking systems that have actually caused problems, to an extent that other people are even contemplating on closing their businesses just because of this parking system. So as council, our mandate, our main line of business as council is provision of services, not milking residents. And you know, having revenue streams as a local authority, it's one avenue that you pursue. Like we have Ingwewe and other revenue streams that we have as a local authority, but it does not come in as mainly as a business that is meant to make profit. It's somehow supposed to bring in revenue, but at the same time providing services. But if now as council we are seen as people who are now trying to impose things that are so difficult, and look, after all, this whole parking system did not have proper consultations initially. There should have been proper consultations, what best, so that we get an input from these people to say, this is what we want to introduce in the city, and what is your take in terms of the parking fees, in terms of the business model on its own, to say council is going to get 30% of this, and these are the benefits. And what are these people who are actually coming in as investors, what are they bringing in the city as an investment? As you see, I mean, you've been seeing on social media some areas where there are parking bays that are actually marked on top of potholes. This is just an embarrassment, you understand? We cannot be seen as a council, we cannot be seen as a local authority, and people who can actually come up with such decisions that are going to be milking residents, at the same time not showing anything meaningful that is so-called investment. This business deal that has come, it needs to be reviewed, basically everything from the business model up to the parking fees. So that is where we are. Those are the main issues I think that we need to deal with going forward. Okay, thank you.
So there is a question, an obvious question. Is Kambarami now back as deputy mayor, or is just a councillor for Ward 3?
For now, I wouldn't say much, because my understanding is that probably council is supposed to then sit, because we have I'll just give you the background. My election was nullified by Chief Justice Mapiwa in the High Court of Bulawayo. And after that, Mapiwa nullified, if you can go back to the records, Mapiwa nullified my election as a councillor and my election as the deputy mayor, which I then appealed, and that was then set aside by the Supreme Court. Meaning the Supreme Court set aside what Mapiwa had done. Meaning Mapiwa had nullified my election as councillor and as deputy mayor. So what then happened is that the Supreme Court, after setting aside, it meant to say everything that Mapiwa had done, they had to undo. Meaning I was then taken back to the position I was before Chief Justice Mapiwa passed that decision, which was what? The councillor, subsequently the deputy mayor of the city of Bulawayo. That is where I was restored back to the position I was. Then there was an issue of the recall, which I think you saw when I tried to go back to council. They resisted my they resisted my entry in council, because they said that I should deal with the issues of the recall, which I have dealt with. The issue of the recall is what was dealt with in that declarator yesterday, which has taken me back to my office. So what it meant is that yesterday we were only dealing with the issues of my recall, but the issue regarding my office as a councillor and as a deputy mayor was dealt with at the Supreme Court. Here I was only dealing with the recall. So I think that is key. You understand? So the Supreme Court took me back to where I was before my people passed that judgment. Okay.
And then maybe lastly your message to
in response to your question, I'm the councillor for Ward 3 and the deputy mayor for the city of Bulawayo.
All right. And then maybe lastly, what's your message to Ward 3 residents, specifically Ward 3?
Thank you.
Gone for 3 years without
Thank you so much. My ward has been orphaned for a long time, and you know, my heart was dripping with tears to say, look at the ward and people who had entrusted me with their vote, going for 3 years without representation, going for 3 years without proper service delivery, in as much as there was a caretaker councillor. But you know, they needed someone who was going to be there with them every day. They needed to be with someone whom they had elected as a ward. So, you know, it has always been my wish to say, I need to go back to these people and say thank you. And my thank you to them is to provide the services that they had actually entrusted me and the mandate that they had given me as a councillor. So for that reason, it is my message to them is that within the short space of time, I'm going to give it my best, that the things that they had actually hoped for, the expectations that they had from me as a councillor, I'm going to deliver, and we'll work together and make sure that we achieve all the things that we had planned together.
No, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, uzamile.